Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're tearing down exactly how you, as a small business owner, can scale your operations and your wealth by tapping into the Billionaire Playbook. You know, a lot of people just assume that folks who achieve extraordinary wealth are, born fundamentally different from the rest of us. But honestly, it's really just about how they think. They behave differently because they think differently. And the best part is that we can all learn how to do this. We're going to extract these mental frameworks directly from our source material and apply them right to your business. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's kick things off with a brutally honest question, one that pretty much every entrepreneur needs to face. Are you actually running your business, or is your business running you? No matter how long you've been doing this, it is so easy to get totally trapped in the day-to-day grind. Look, I get it. When payroll is due on Friday, it's basically impossible to think about next year. We get hyper-focused on surviving the week, closing out the month, or just figuring out how we're going to survive the weekend. But that kind of short-term wiring, it almost never leads to long-term scaling.
You can see a massive contrast here between merely surviving the month and strategically planning for a decade of growth. While the typical owner is frantically scrambling to put out tomorrow's fires, the billionaire mindset is busy making decisions for targets that are 10 years down the road. They aren't just squirreling away cash for a rainy day, they're stockpiling resources for massive opportunities they know are going to pop up years from now. Now, obviously, we all have to live within our current financial realities. But if you truly want to scale, you've got to start planting seeds today for the harvest you actually want to see in 5 or 10 years. So here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. Escaping the busy work trap. 2. Valuing time over saved money. 3. The ultimate delegation checklist. 4. Increasing value to drive earnings. And finally, 5. Scaling with long-term vision.
Starting off with Section 1. Escaping the busy work trap. It is time to stop acting like an employee in your own business. Picture your typical workday. If it looks anything like this chart, say split right down the middle, 50% high-impact work and 50% tedious chores you just aren't good at, man, you are artificially capping your business growth. People are always wondering, why do highly successful billionaires work so much? Well, it's because they don't work like the rest of us. They have ruthlessly eliminated the busy work. By delegating all that stuff, they get to spend their days totally immersed in creative, high-impact projects that actually excite them. And the result? It's not just a much more lucrative business, it creates a working life that is genuinely rewarding.
Moving right along to Section 2, value time over saved money and the true cost of trying to do everything yourself.
I want you to think about your hourly earning potential. Let's just say your time is worth $100 an hour. If you spend 3 hours grinding away at something just to save $100, that is a terrible trade. You see, to a highly successful entrepreneur, money just isn't as tangible as time. Time is the ultimate, unrenewable resource. If you're a $100 an hour earner and you burn 3 hours DIYing a task just to save $100 instead of hiring a pro, mathematically, you are literally going backwards. You have to constantly pause and ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now actively interrupting my earning potential?
Because if you do this, you're basically bleeding your own earning potential just to pinch a few pennies. The source text has this fantastic example of an entrepreneurial couple whose businesses were finally starting to take off. But they realized that spending their entire weekend doing house cleaning and yard work was actually costing them money. It was draining their earning power. By simply contracting those services out, they bought back hours that they immediately poured back into their companies. And guess what? Those reclaimed hours ended up earning them thousands of dollars a month. Way, way more than the cost of the lawn guy and the cleaner.
Which brings us right into Section 3, the ultimate delegation checklist, and how to leverage others to multiply your success.
Okay, you really need to internalize this mathematical truth. It is infinitely more scalable to make 1% from the efforts of 1,000 people than to hustle to make 100% from just your own effort. So many small business owners hit a brick wall with their growth purely because they refuse to let go and utilize other people. Capturing a tiny fraction of a massive collective effort is mathematically vastly superior to relying solely on your own 2 hands. You've got to relentlessly seek out more valuable ways to spend your time.
There's this brilliant story in the material about a software startup founder who was basically on the verge of burnout. He escaped it by following a simple 3-step process to build what was essentially a delegation engine. In the early days, he literally did everything, marketing, sales, chasing down invoices, while his partner built the tech. And sure, that's necessary at first, but to grow, he had to let it go. He fought it initially because delegating meant he had to go through the temporary headache of spending a year building replicable systems. But once those systems were dialed in, the payoff was massive. He could just plug people into every aspect of the business and track their metrics. Suddenly, his time was totally unlocked to focus on big-picture strategy and opening up new markets.
So, what exactly should you be handing off? Let's go through a rapid-fire checklist. Offload the house cleaning, outsource the yard work, hand over routine billing, chasing down collections, and those tedious admin tasks. Pass off the basic marketing execution. Seriously, stop doing your own data entry. These are prime targets for systemization. Free yourself from the busy work, get your weekends back, and give yourself the actual mental space you need to be the visionary of your company.
All right, Section 4, increasing value to drive earnings. This is where you really start thinking like the CEO of your business.
Now, traditional financial gurus will always tell you to cut your expenses to the bone, hoard your cash, and basically operate from a place of scarcity. And sure, that works if your only goal is to play it super safe. But the billionaire approach, it is the exact opposite. They have an aggressive focus on increasing output, generating revenue, and creating massive value for the client. Think about it. It is incredibly hard to save a lot of money unless you're actually making a lot of money first. The scaling mindset requires shifting your focus entirely toward boosting your income. And at its core, earning more is fundamentally about providing more value.
Business author Ram Charan refers to this as acting as the CEO of you. Basically, your ultimate goal is to constantly find ways to provide more value, which naturally forces your earnings up. Treating your role within your small business as if you're a completely separate enterprise selling your services back to your company. Keep asking yourself, how can I increase the quality of my output today? Can I deliver this faster? How can I radically upgrade the customer experience? When you obsess over increasing the value you provide, the natural, inevitable byproduct is increased earnings. People will happily open their wallets for incredible value.
And that brings us to our final part, Section 5, scaling with long-term vision and removing those self-imposed limits.
Our perspective literally dictates our reality. Most of us massively overestimate what we can grind out in a single year, right? But at the same time, we completely underestimate the massive scaling that is possible over a 10-year horizon. Billionaires aren't aiming for a comfortable six-figure salary or to just buy a nice car. They set huge, audacious goals, like dominating an entire industry. The goals you have for your business right now, they are very likely the direct result of limits you've subconsciously placed on yourself based on what you consider to be reasonable. I absolutely love this analogy from the text. Think of yourself as a high-performance muscle car. If your goal is just to earn a decent, comfortable living, you are effectively slapping a 55-mile-per-hour governor on a massive engine. Our highways have speed limits for safety, sure, but there are absolutely zero speed limits when it comes to the goals you set for your business. Setting a safe, comfortable income target, that's not a goal. That is a self-imposed speed limit. You are capable of driving so much faster.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on. Are you going to keep driving your business adhering to these self-imposed speed limits, or are you going to finally step on the gas and see how fast you can really go? Even if you fall short of building a literal billion-dollar empire, just by opening up the throttle, you're going to push your business to grow faster and further than you ever imagined. Take these frameworks, start planting your 10-year seeds today, delegate that busy work, and focus relentlessly on creating massive value. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.